Comedy skit YouTube channel Supermega has recently been the victim of a coordinated op to destroy their credibility and reputation publicly, and I'll be spending the entire video proving that one statement to be true. Matt and Ryan are the two guys running the Supermega channel, and they've been accused of covering up a sexual assault by OnlyFans girl Lex Updog, homophobia and harassment by ex-employee Leighton, racism by YouTuber Ethan is Online, and much more by another YouTuber Nick is Not Green that you may know. The thing is though, all these people I just named, Lex, Leighton, and Nick, Ethan, are all shameless liars who spread provable false shit about Supermega, but for some reason that part of the story never gets mentioned. Lex claiming Matt didn't believe her when she told him about her assault and that he didn't show her support at all, only for text to leak afterwards showing this to be a lie.
They said they believed me and then gave me no support. That's just not what that means. I had no support from them.
Here are the text messages right before and right after that call, showing that I was supportive.
Leighton claiming he was harassed by homophobic jokes that he wasn't comfortable with, only for text to show afterwards that he not only was fine with it, but he also encouraged it, even making the same jokes back at them too.
As a gay man, I can say that I was harassed at Supermega. The gay jokes that they would sometimes go with would go way too far.
Here are screenshots from several occasions where I made sure Leighton was comfortable with these types of jokes, to which he always replied yes, and even in one message said it would be weird if we stopped.
Ethan claiming Matt said the N-word to people with no basis or evidence at all. And Nick being the worst here, literally outright saying he doesn't give a fuck about finding the truth to the situation here, and will accuse someone of being a rapist and Supermega for covering up a sexual assault with no evidence whatsoever aside from his friend's fucking word.
Of course, I'm gonna take the side of a personal friend of mine when she comes out with a story about her own sexual assault. This isn't like an online, like normal thing where I look at all the facts and I make a decision. No, my friend was assaulted and never felt like she was able to be heard. And obviously, I believe her word. I don't really understand where people are coming from when they call me a liar with an agenda.
You literally just admitted that you will accuse someone of sexual assault on your public platform of 700,000 people with no evidence, just your friend telling you, trust me, bro, and you really have the balls to wonder why people would call you a liar with an agenda? And by the way, he just said this a few minutes before.
But a lot of this stuff just ends up being personal shit that we can't really prove, and it's not gonna hold as much weight because of that.
So you use the defense of, hey man, it's he said, she said, personal shit at the end of the day when making a point against Supermega, but when it comes to your friends, you don't. You just take their word as gospel and believe every word they say to accuse someone of rape with no proof. Okay, well, Nick, I actually have a friend who told me that you raped them last week. What do you suggest I do here, man? Because I know I have a responsibility to not spread false shit on my public platform of thousands of people, but they're my friend and I really just want to make sure their voice is heard. I'm sure you can understand. So yeah, I think I'm going to take your advice and believe them with no evidence at all and make a public video saying that you are in fact a rapist, Nick is Not Green. I also don't think it's a coincidence that every person involved here is friends with each other and all came out with their own stories in a coordinated time. With Lex first dropping her video to kick it off on July 27th, then Leighton streaming his story the next day on July 28th, then Nick is Not Green releasing his video the next day on July 29th, and Ethan doing a celebratory live stream that Supermega is losing thousands of subs because you all bold-faced lied about them to destroy their career. I mean, they just uploaded a video saying they don't know if they will be able to continue running the channel due to the recent events and might quit because of this. This is actually fucked. These guys got smeared off of some bullshit and might lose their job because of it. Plus, there's even evidence showing that everything was good between Lex and Supermega up until they fired her friend Leighton. And then suddenly once that happened, she cut contact with them and released her video saying how poorly Supermega treated her and even covered up her sexual assault. If that was truly how you felt about them though, why were you completely fine with them months after they apparently treated you so bad and even covered up your assault? Until one day that all changed once they fired your friend and suddenly you now have a problem with them. All of the evidence points to this being a vindictive op that this friend group coordinated to try to take down Supermega. Their real motives are so clear and transparent. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This was just the intro to get you guys invested and hooked in the story. But let's start at the complete beginning of all of this and fully explain this.
Yeah, I felt like a piece of meat because I was just useful for like gaming.
So this whole story begins with Lex Updog releasing her 2-hour and 16-minute video, My Experience with Don Doctor and Supermega, on July 27th. And the video is that long because for the majority of it, she rants about completely irrelevant petty shit that basically all just boils down to how her and Supermega fell out as friends. They have problems with miscommunications blowing up small issues into bigger ones, which I'm sure every human on the world has fucking experienced. My personal favorite being when Lex complained about how Supermega didn't show up to her birthday party.
My birthday was a couple days after, and pretty much no one came to it. And then someone else's birthday was like 2 days later, and everyone was there.
This being included in the same video where minutes ago you were just talking about how you were sexually assaulted is nuts. There's a lot of stuff like this that I could go on and on about, but for the sake of keeping things clear and direct as possible for this video, it just sums up to them falling out. But there wasn't any huge notable shit either party did that was that crazy here. But the important things here is that Lex claims her boyfriend at the time, Don, sexually assaulted her, and this is her side of the story.
Don, sexually assaulted me. He like physically was like forcing me, like attempting to physically force me to give him oral. And the only reason why it didn't work was because I like physically like pushed him away multiple times. And he kept telling me like, just do it. And like multiple times while he was like trying to force my head down. And he's like way bigger than me. I don't know. I was really freaked out after that. So eventually he let me go, but
However, Don released his account of what happened here, and it was much different. In regards to what happened during November 2021, this is my side to what happened. Lex and I were invited over by Matt to stay over at his place for a week. We had been intimate since day one, but on the third night, I'd asked her for oral sex. She at first said no because she had a cold sore. Later, I asked again, and she said yes, but to be careful not to be too rough. During the intimate act, I'd pushed down on her head, after which she recoiled and told me I was being too rough. I then profusely apologized, and we ended up watching TV and going to bed after. But the response that Lex got versus Don from the general public was much different. When Lex gives her side of the story with no evidence, by the way. Damn, this was really tough to read. I'm sorry, Lex. Sending you positive vibes to help you through this. We are here for you. I'm so sorry you had to experience this. Thank you for being so brave to speak out. You deserve literally a million loving words and endless praise for holding yourself up this long. Now it's time to rest and heal. You deserve to be happy and loved the way you want. Come back when you are better and when you want. But when Don gives his side, shut up, rapist, game end yourself. Seek professional help, seriously. You deserve anything and everything that's coming to you. You don't deserve forgiveness. You disgust me. Deactivate and turn yourself in for SA. Your point of view is nothing, dude. You don't deserve any response. Regardless of how you go forward, you will never be anything but a rapist. Whoa. Okay, did I miss something in Don's story? Because you would expect replies like this from someone who just admitted to being a flat-out rapist. But that's not at all what he said. This guy asked his girlfriend for head. She said no earlier in the day because she had a cold sore. So then later on, he asked again. She said yes. And then while they were doing it, he pushed down on her head, which she didn't like, and then he apologized and stopped. Where is the rape? He didn't wear her down or anything by asking her like 20 times until she was finally just fed up and said yes. He asked twice within a day. Is that abnormal? Have I been coerced and raped into sex whenever a girlfriend is asked more than once? And in regards to pushing down on her head, this is made out to seem much more severe in writing, but isn't that a completely normal, common thing to do when a girl is giving head? That's literally the meme head motion when people say, suck my dick. And on top of this, he even says when Lex told him to stop, he stopped and apologized. This sounds like a completely common, awkward sexual experience I would be willing to bet the majority of people have gone through. So why is Lex's side getting praised and Don's getting shit on? Well, people just simply chose to pick a side and to destroy Don's life with baseless accusations that he sexually assaulted Lex. Now, at the end of the day, I'm not saying anyone is guilty or innocent here. I don't know what happened, and no one ever will aside from the two involved. But usually what we find in these he said, she said situations is that the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle of both people's accounts of the story. So to ruin someone's reputation with baseless allegations that will now follow him for the rest of his life, preventing him from work, destroying relationships he has with people, and shattering any credibility he has over something we don't even know is true, is some of the scariest mob mentality shit you'll see. I mean, we just saw the public evisceration of Johnny Depp's career a few years ago, only for now the truth to come out about a lot of these things that Amber Heard spread false shit about him. And it's especially interesting to see people be so quick to treat Lex's word as if it's scripture, considering in the same video she spread provable false lies about Supermega.
I don't believe you. You're not trustworthy people anymore. So to say that you feel a certain way is not trustable.
As I said earlier, Lex says a lot of irrelevant shit in this video about Supermega and Don that isn't even worth covering, but the important thing here is that she claims they covered up her sexual assault.
After they've like pretty much covered up my sexual assault.
And if you're wondering how Supermega covered this up, this allegation is as incoherent as it sounds. She doesn't substantiate this at all and didn't make one point to prove this in her video. She did mention a lot of unrelated petty shit where at worst Supermega might have been bad friends to her sometimes, but absolutely nothing to prove that they covered it up. I mean, this is just straight out of her ass. And even they were stumped on why she said this.
We never took any action to cover up a sexual assault, and we never tried to cover Don from any consequences. We removed Don as our channel artist, and we cut contact with him 100%.
And as I showed in the intro, Lex boldface lied about Supermega not showing her support when she told them about her assault.
I told my friends, and instead of telling me they didn't believe me, they acted just like they didn't, and without saying it. And that's just as bad. I had no support from them. They said they believed me and then gave me no support. That's just not what that means.
Here are the text messages right before and right after that call, showing that I was supportive. I was not completely callous like it was made out to be.
I had no support from them.
But this seemed to be Lex's tactic, as you could tell from earlier, to throw anything and everything at the wall to see what sticks. From little things such as the office being too dirty, to huge shit like them trying to help her abuser, Don. She continues to lie though, next claiming after months of Lex staying at Supermega's building rent-free. Eventually, as they began falling out as friends, Lex claimed they kicked her out cold and made her homeless.
Said they did nothing but helped me, and then gaslit me about it and made me homeless.
Which this again is a lie, and she voluntarily left on her own choice.
We did not throw them out. We did not make them homeless. Here is a text message where they're talking about leaving the office. Y'all have certainly gone above and beyond with your generosity and allowing us to crash for as long as y'all have, and we'd hate to overstay our welcome any further than we already have.
She also has these really weird moments where she brings up very personal shit about Supermega's friend that committed suicide, as well as bringing up that Matt cheated on his ex.
Daniel, their friend Daniel, Matt's like at least twice in front of me, separate times we'll hang out with him, has called Daniel a coward. So no, they don't care about suicide.
This really hurt to hear because this is simply untrue. That experience affected me and Ryan more than anything has ever affected us in our lives.
A girl that Matt cheated on his girlfriend with. Matt's ex that knew Jim first got betrayed by Jim, and everybody pretty much knew except for her.
How is this relevant? I have no clue. How else am I supposed to interpret this, aside from it just being blatantly character assassination and continuing the pattern of throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks to try and cancel them? I think a very telling comparison here is to look at Matt's leveled mature take on this falling out between the two versus Lex's.
The thing that really plagued the situation was lack of communication, miscommunication. All around it was a pretty weird vibe, and I think all four of us could have acted more mature during that period, but we failed to communicate. Here's a text from Lex in a group chat acknowledging that they had been, distant towards us, but it was a two-way street and it was miscommunication.
Basically saying, hey, we both made mistakes in the situation and miscommunicated, but life moves on and it's not that serious. However, Lex, on the other hand, decided to publicly try and destroy their reputation over this petty shit, when in reality, both parties did wrong and made mistakes leading to their fallout. However, something Supermega never did that she decided to do is straight up lie about them multiple times and make a video trying to destroy their career. Matt even shows texts of Lex being two-faced towards him, being very cordial and friendly, showing that they worked out any problems between the two months later. But of course, this all changed as soon as Supermega fired Leighton.
Since last summer, I assumed that my relationship with Lex was much better. For example, here's several texts I received from Lex between November of last year and February of this year. Good luck tonight, Matt. Heart emoji. I'm in Nashville, but I'd like to try to come to a show before tour is over. We should have a cookout when we're all back in town to celebrate. I said, thank you. We'll party hardy soon. Guess who lives like 5 minutes away from you now? It's me. Hope you're having a good day. Then on my birthday, she texted me, happy birthday, Matt. I love you. Hope your day is great. I thought that after I apologized to her last July, things had smoothed out. And I think you could see why I would think that. But that communication ceased around the time that we fired Leighton, who is a close friend of hers.
So you were good and friends again and worked out all your issues that happened months earlier, even asking them to hang and have a cookout. But the minute your friend gets laid off by them, everything changes, and now you're acting like those past issues were never resolved between you two and make a video saying actually how horrible people they are. You were fucking friends with them a few months ago until your friend got laid off. This girl's a complete snake bitch. How are people not seeing this? It's right in your face how two-faced this girl is.
Happy birthday, Matt. I love you. Hope your day is great.
A few moments later.
They've like pretty much covered up my sexual assault.
I love you.
Covered up.
I love you.
Covered up. I don't believe you. You're not trustworthy people anymore.
If you don't believe me still, I'm sorry. I'm not lying. I have no reason to lie.
Now, Leighton is an ex-employee of Supermega who was fired for not performing well enough at his job, and ever since has been on a vindictive campaign to try and ruin their credibility publicly for months now. First putting out a tweet accusing them of homophobia, and would talk shit in Twitter spaces and replies constantly, accusing them of mistreating him. However, none of these attempts were successful until the day finally came when Supermega was already getting a ton of heat from Lex's video. Literally the next day on July 28th, he goes live for 3 hours with a full bullet-pointed script, going over every small thing that he felt Supermega did wrong to him. So not only on the face of this, the motive is entirely disingenuous, and so clearly is just trying to piggyback off of Lex's recent allegations to make it about himself and boost his own story jumping on the dog pile. But on top of that, it's very much like Lex, he just straight up lied about them numerous times. He claims he was harassed by homophobic jokes that Supermega would make towards him, and that they went too far and made him uncomfortable.
I can say with confidence that I was truly harassed. As a gay man, I can say that I was harassed at Supermega. The gay jokes that they would sometimes go with would go way too far.
But Matt shows text proof of them checking in with Leighton multiple times, and him responding saying that he's completely fine with it and even encourages it.
Here are screenshots from several occasions where I made sure Leighton was comfortable with these types of jokes, to which he always replied yes, and even in one message said it would be weird if we stopped. In this message, Leighton says he sees no issues with the jokes. Here he says he feels more comfortable around us than anyone, and I said, real talk, we absolutely love having you as a part of Supermega. You've completely revolutionized our company. Leighton responds by saying, I love all the gay jokes you guys throw at me, and I said, you're a crucial member now. If they're ever too much though, just tell us. And he said, I'm so fucking happy to hear that. I fucking love working with you guys. Nah, you guys have never offended me. I think Justin is nervous that it'll come off as homophobic, but I love you guys and the gay jokes. It would be weird if you guys held back, LMAO. Here's another instance where I said, also legit, if we're making too many gay jokes, please tell me. We're always fucking kidding, but I get it if it gets too much, haha. He responded by saying I looked like an F slur. I said, okay, perfect response, LMAO.
So what changed, Leighton? You lost your job and have nothing to gain from them anymore. That's what's changed.
As a gay man, I can say that I was harassed at Supermega.
He continues lying through his teeth though, next claiming that Supermega made him extremely uncomfortable with the crude jokes they would make exposing themselves around the office.
Matt yells from the office in the back room that he might as well show me his dick and balls because I'm gonna see it anyways. So he goes, hey Leighton. And I turn around, the dude's dick and balls are out, and then he puts them away, and I'm like, Matthew. And then, like, everybody laughs kind of stuff.
But come to find out, he would do the exact same shit, even flashing his cock and balls to Matt and Ryan while recording a video.
Leighton also said that we repeatedly made him uncomfortable by exposing ourselves to him around the office. It's true that we did do a lot of crude jackass-style bits around the office, and that's apparent in our videos too. But if Leighton ever felt uncomfortable by any of that, he never showed it, and he never brought it up. I find it a little ironic that he complained about this, considering, for example, in December we were recording a podcast when he came in unannounced and showed us his cock and balls.
Late 20s, Chuck. Hey, Leighton.
Hey. Whoa.
Somebody's putting on
Do you
a
see his
show.
balls?
Leighton, you want to come take a seat?
Do you see his balls? I don't think it's appropriate for the podcast. You want to wrap yourself in a towel.
Yeah, I could really tell you had a big problem with this and it made you uncomfortable, man. And you know, you can call this weird and inappropriate to have this lax of a relationship with an employee. That's completely fair, and personally, I'm not really a fan of the, hey, look at my literal cock in your face type of humor either. But at the end of the day, it was clear they treated this work environment more like a group of friends that all took part in it, that all cracked jokes at each other. And for Leighton to retrospectively act as if he was traumatized and harassed by this when he did the same shit, especially especially to say this now after being fired. It just makes all of his motives so transparent of just being a disgruntled employee that's going to say anything to try to discredit Supermega, despite if he actually felt like he was harassed or not. He's gonna say it anyway to try to take them down.
Even though they would make jokes about things that I would never joke about.
Do you see his balls?
I would never joke about.
Balls?
I'm not lying. I have no reason to lie.
But the funniest part of the stream was when he tried to call out Ryan for transphobia and misgendering his partner. The thing is though, Leighton didn't know that Ryan's partner was fine with being called any pronouns, and instead, he decided that he was going to assume himself. So Leighton misgendered the same person he's trying to call out someone else for misgendering here.
Ryan McGee openly misgenders a trans person in his life that he cares very much about behind their back. I can't tell you how many times I would hear Ryan McGee say, "I'm gonna go home to my boyfriend," or "I'm gonna go fuck this guy." But it broke my fucking heart. Literally, their fucking partner is misgendering them all the fucking time. It makes me so fucking mad to see just blatant transphobia.
You know, you're right, Leighton. I hate to see blatant transphobia too.
This partner is such a sweet person. I didn't know them well. I don't think they ever liked me. So we just weren't ever close.
He even self-admits he didn't even know them well. This is such a bad look. He's really looking for anything to throw at the wall, and even when he does that, he fucks it up. And funny enough, he released an apology about this, but didn't release an apology about all of the other blatant lies that he told about Supermega. These people are disgusting. During my stream, I told a story of how I felt my ex-bosses misgendered someone behind their back at the office. I had no idea that this person identifies as gender fluid. It wasn't my place to assume someone's gender and pronouns. I should have checked with this person before I spoke to easily clarify their feelings. What a fucking joke.
It makes me so fucking mad to see just blatant transphobia.
He continues to lie though, next saying that Supermega was looking for any reason to get rid of him and fire him, when in reality, he himself suggested leaving due to his poor performance. So he very well knew the reason why he was fired, but of course is just trying to embellish the story as much as possible to try to paint Supermega out in the worst light.
Matt and Ryan were looking for any excuse to fire me.
Leighton himself actually suggested leaving Supermega prior to being terminated. So when he stated on stream that we were looking for any reason to fire him, this simply isn't true. Here is a text he sent to me and Ryan in the week leading up to his termination. "I'm sorry I messed up so much with my position. It's not being harsh. I know it's the both of your company, and all of this makes the two of you look bad. I could step away from the merch stuff if you guys feel like I'm not doing enough for the role. I'm sorry I've messed up so much. I 100% understand if you guys are ready for me to leave Supermega and let someone else take care of my responsibilities. It's not fair to you two that I keep screwing up." So yes, as you can see, Leighton was aware of his performance and the issues that were taking place with his job, and we were not looking for any reason to fire him. We did not want to fire him.
There's so much petty shit I could go over from the stream too, like Leighton weirdly bringing up Supermega's friend who committed suicide out of the blue, claiming they made fun of him.
Matt and Ryan make fun of Daniel for killing himself. They make fun of him for killing himself.
And then logs were leaked of him even talking shit behind his friend Lex's back, but I think you guys get the idea. This guy's a complete lying piece of shit with a personal vendetta to destroy Supermega ever since getting fired. And it seems like the pieces are starting to align here. After they initially fell out, a few months later, Lex and Supermega rekindled and became friends again for months, but then she completely cut contact the minute Leighton was fired. So why would Lex be friends with Supermega again for months if she was apparently treated so bad by them? And then at the coincidental same time her friend was fired, retrospectively look back on her and Supermega's relationship and make a video lying that they treated her worse than she was. I think what really happened was that Lex and Supermega had their falling outs like how friends do sometimes, but then made up afterwards, putting the past behind them, even planning cookouts, all up until Leighton was canned, and then he went and talked a lot of shit to Lex about Supermega, resulting in her eventually cutting them off, and then Leighton convincing her that she was treated a lot worse than what really happened, getting her on the fuck Supermega train, which then eventually resulted in her making her video. Because why else would Lex suddenly change her mind about being friends with Supermega after working out all of their past issues with each other? But then out of the blue, all the same things that was resolved now became ammunition to attack Supermega for, and to embellish a story and create all of these lies to paint them out to look in the worst light. It was Leighton getting fired. That was the start to this entire thing, and made the difference between a normal story that isn't public of just two friends falling out and eventually rekindling and becoming chill with each other again, versus this huge personal vendetta to try to take down their whole career. All the evidence points to this being the case. The timing is just far too perfect. And then of course they dragged along their big YouTuber friend NsVEKwaYBVw to make a video blowing up the situation, getting it the attention they need to put the final nail in the coffin of Supermega.
Someone that I'm personally friends with, someone who goes by the name Lex or Lex Updog online.
The literal next day after Leighton's stream, NsVEKwaYBVw releases a 36-minute video called Supermega is full of horrible people. And throughout this video, he presents Lex's allegations as not allegations like they actually are, but instead 100% truth and absolute fact.
And that first night, Don sexually assaulted Lex. They have a predator in the same room as them. You hid the sexual assault of a friend of yours. I think him and Matt are both pretty despicable human beings for letting any of this happen.
He flat out calls Don a predator, a rapist, and says Supermega covered up a sexual assault and protected a rapist with no evidence at all. He also claims his motive in making this video is just to innocently lift up the victims' voices and to make sure that Lex's voice can be heard.
My main objective for this video is to lift up Lex's voice and allow her to be heard about something that she felt unsafe talking about for a very long time.
But then he spends half the video going over completely unrelated shit that has nothing to do with Lex's story to try and make Supermega look worse. He reads Reddit posts shitting on them, going over Leighton's stream full of lies, in addition to covering one of Matt's exes, complaining about her hookup with him.
Matt actually cheated on a long-term girlfriend of his very recently. Matt ghosted Morgpie after she asked him to hang out on September 10th. Matt told Morgpie that he was bragging to all his friends about hooking up with her. Seems like Matt Watson is a 14-year-old boy, and he looks like it too.
What the fuck is this? How is this even relevant?
And my favorite post right here says, rape apologist gets what he deserves. And it shows Matt getting the absolute shit beaten out of him. Let's just let it play a couple more times. We can keep watching it. My main objective for this video is to lift up Lex's voice.
5 minutes later.
Let's just let it play a couple more times. I don't really understand where people are coming from when they call me a liar with an agenda.
And in his second video on the topic, he just flat out admits to believing in Lex's word completely, simply because he's friends with her. Just watch this. It's unbelievable how he flat out just says this without realizing how retarded it is.
Of course, I'm gonna take the side of a personal friend of mine when she comes out with a story about her own sexual assault. This isn't like an online, like normal thing where I look at all the facts and I make a decision. No. My friend was assaulted and never felt like she was able to be heard. And obviously, I believe her word.
This isn't an online normal thing where I look at all the facts and I make a decision. Yeah, that really just came out of his mouth when talking about rape allegations.
And obviously, I believe her word.
Completely shameless, just admitting he will use his platform of 700,000 people to call someone else a rapist with no evidence as long as his friend says so. Incredible.
All I really want out of this video and out of this situation is for the victims in the story to be heard and to have a voice.
You know, you say you're all about victims, you know, you're all about lifting up the weak's voices and giving them a platform to speak on, but it's not true. You stand up for your friends, you stand up for women, and anything that your political alignment agrees with. But you don't even know who the victims are in this situation, so I don't know why you're saying victims. You stand up for baseless accusations if your friend says so and will call a random person a rapist, even though you have no proof. That's what you stand for. Don and Lex have completely different accounts of what happened, but you don't care. You just chose to pick a side and said one side is absolutely true and another side is absolutely false, with no evidence, baselessly accusing this guy and ruining his life, victimizing him, ironically, for how much you care about victims. You just fucking made one.
They're just really, really dumb, and they don't really deserve to have the company and the team and the platform that they have with the way that they've handled it.
This guy really has the balls to say someone else is dumb and doesn't deserve their platform for mishandling a situation.
But I don't really see why in a story that you otherwise think is true, Lex would suddenly lie about these things that are very serious. Again, I would watch the video for yourselves and see where you fall in it, but a lot of this stuff just ends up being personal shit that we can't really prove, and it's not gonna hold as much weight because of that.
When talking about Supermega, oh, you know, this is he said, she said bullshit that we'll never know the full story of and can't prove. But when talking about Lex, I'm so sorry, Queen, that Don raped you. I believe every word you say. Here, tell me what you want me to do. I'll make a video. I'll do anything.
Matt does make a lot of interesting points in his apology that we will talk about today. But I think that this claim that he kind of ends his response with is extremely in bad faith, and it makes me question his true intentions with all of the claims he's making.
Oh, so you question the credibility of someone's word after they make a bad faith point and lie. I wonder where I've seen that before. Well, with your own logic, Nick, I must question the credibility of all things Lex, Leighton, and you have to say, since you are all proven liars.
But I do think people were a little bit too quick to come out and support Matt and Ryan just because they agreed that they were pieces of shit in some of these circumstances.
He's seriously criticizing other people for jumping the gun and supporting Supermega without knowing the full story. Now he's the nuanced guy who's looking at all sides. The same guy who made a fucking video saying that Supermega covered up a sexual assault before even hearing their side of things. I'm gonna fucking lose it. And then a few days later, Lex and her boyfriend Ethan is online, fire up a celebratory live stream that Supermega has been losing tens of thousands of subscribers, even putting up their live sub count on the screen to show how it's slowly declining because of them spreading false information, lying about their name, and doing a coordinated op to try to fucking take them down.
Yeah, there's a new website that gives live counts of YouTube subscribers, which is pretty awesome. Supermega lost like how many thousands of subscribers? Like 30,000 already? Almost 40. It's funny. That's right. Don't forget it. Don't wear it out.
They're gloating in their victory, and you know, they won. As unfortunate as it is to see, they succeeded 100% in their goal to destroy Supermega. They lost over 60,000 subscribers, and ever since released a video saying that they don't know if they will be able to come back to the channel after this. And while all of this is happening, these four have a great big smile on their face.
And I hope that people can see that there is a personal vendetta that is being blown up here and used.
With every lie, there's always a little bit of truth mixed in to make it believable, and that's exactly how this friend group took down Supermega. They played off of real events and problems they had with them, but embellished what had happened to the ultimate extreme, making things seem a lot worse than what really occurred. The full timeline of this op against them has been Lex falling out with Supermega, rekindling as friends a few months later, resolving any past issues, even planning cookouts together, but then, as soon as Leighton got fired, Lex cut contact with Supermega. Leighton accused Supermega of homophobia and harassment for months on Twitter, but it never was received well. Then, Lex released her video, spearheaded with her abuse story, to get as many sympathy votes as possible to make her accusations against Supermega of covering up her assault go down way better with the audience. Then Leighton fired up a stream the next day, then Nick Is Not Green made his video the next day after that, and after they successfully ruined their credibility, they celebrated their downfall live on stream. They take no shame in outright lying about people if it means they get their end result. This is the worst and most obvious cancellation campaign I've seen in recent memory to ruin someone because of a personal vendetta. And you know, this video isn't gonna suddenly make it better. The damage has already been done. It's crazy, man. These guys got completely ruined for nothing. These four people are genuinely disgusting.
I don't believe you. You're not trustworthy people anymore. So to say that you feel a certain way is not trustable.
Because they fucking lied. Because Matt Watson's a liar. And Ryan McGee's a liar.
I don't really understand where people are coming from when they call me a liar with an agenda. But
to Matt and Ryan of Supermega, the N-word, the hard R, is Chuck E. Cheese's middle name. And if you're, I'm sure chat's blowing up and asking, but